JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. December 27, 2024, 9:02 on this fine Friday. Talk quick about the market, some names I'm looking at, go from there. Take a look at S&P futures, pretty much right at the low of pretty much since yesterday, right? The overnight lows were below that. SPY's at 598.70 here in the pre-market, down about a 0.5%. So probably some more chop here today between 598 and 602. Yesterday futures open lower, reversed those losses, almost closed in the green, slightly flat. There's not much in the way of catalyst. And this morning, what inventory numbers, and then we're into the last two sessions of 2024 on Monday and Tuesday. Uh, Not much in the way of analyst commentary the last couple sessions. It seems like every year is the same. Once we start hitting the holidays, the last 2 weeks or so, not much in the way of analyst changes, and not much in the way of catalyst. So for now, I thought the path of least resistance to the upside. Hopefully, we find some support here and get back over 600 into the close. Yes, so we're up 4 sessions in a row to the upside, and then if you take a look, I think it was only a couple days ago, the S&P had 10 straight sessions. I believe it was 10 straight of the amount of stocks declining. There was more stocks declining than going higher, which hasn't happened in 40 years or what have you. And then the last two sessions, we just had, I think it was 80 or 90% of the stocks higher. So it's just funny how that all turns out. But the big data point, or at least chart I've been looking at, is that the amount of stocks trading over the 50-day on the S&P, and that continues to trend upward. Yields were pretty much flat yesterday, so just want to see those kind of come in line. Otherwise, I feel there's going to be some kind of repricing of some of the assets, especially some of the momentum names. And then last but not least, the small caps. And some of the names that rallied yesterday were in the small caps. And then sure enough, small caps were up 1% yesterday. Hopefully that continues as well. All right, so now individual names. So, I spoke about it on the rant yesterday afternoon as well. I've been watching UNH, CNI, some of these insurers over the last couple week or two after the big sell-offs, and the premiums were pretty elevated. So to try and trade, or at least do a spec lotto for a bounce, was tough. And then yesterday, UNH opened in the red and it started to reverse. And I looked at Cigna was going higher. So then I looked at the call and said, wow, the 520s look interesting on a risk reward basis. Got those within 30 minutes. They were over a double, closed them out, and held the rest into today. I mean, need a 1.5 to 2% move before the noon hour or 1 o'clock hour for those to really pay. But I think there's a shot there. So the important part's going to be the open. It needs to hold 510 or so at the open. If it does that, I think UNH can bounce here today again. So if that happens, I'll look to close more or all of the calls on and revisit. But these names, they might be, UNH might be down, to 400 in the coming weeks and months, but there's going to be a bounce at some point. So just don't want to time a bounce and be catching a falling knife. So looks like a nice little bottom here for a bounce. I'll continue to look for opportunities to play UNH or CI or some of these other insurers for bounces. All right, that's that. So then some of the names that rallied yesterday, you take a look at Peloton. It's just a couple weeks ago was breaking 1040. I thought that was it, and then found resistance, came all the way back down under 9 for a minute last week. And then yesterday, up nearly 10%, right near that 1040 block. That's been kind of its major resistance. Once that breaks, I think 12 comes quick. I'll still hold my January strikes. I'm not going to add anything more until it breaks 12, but really like this story heading into 2025, especially if small caps continue to rally. I think Peloton can lead the charge. Same with Joby, back-to-back sessions, monster sessions for Joby, closed up nearly 11% yesterday. I think this is catching more attention, especially the higher it goes. People have never really looked at this story. Then once you do research on it, you're like, wow, this is interesting. This might actually disrupt transportation, right? So if that's the case, it's going to deserve a much higher valuation. I think some of the market's starting to price that, starting to price it in, but I don't think it's fully valued, at least as a speculative trade, until maybe it's the mid-teens and 20s. So I think it has a lot of room to go. 962 is that big spot I'll be watching. That's the big break. But if it breaks, 933 was the November highs. 933 it hit once, and 932. So if it breaks that today, I'll look to get some February and or April strikes. The premiums have come down. I was looking yesterday when I was on the rant. You can go back and check the historicals. Back in November, the April strikes were like $140. I think it was the April 15s. Those have come down nearly half, right? So, and that's with the stock trading right near where it was in November. So that's a good thing. So, some of that is November. The stock was under $6 and it rallied from 6. So pretty much a 50% rally over a course of a week. So definitely a nice name. I'm continue to look for opportunities on that one, being patient. Uh, Lemonade. I mean, the more I look at Lemonade, the more it looks like it's just ready for its next squeeze. And it looked like it was going to break out yesterday. I mean, it was up nearly 7. It was up 7% yesterday. I think it's just just a matter of time. I made my little bull flag, and it's not the best bull flag here, but above this trend line is probably that confirms the bull flag, which is going to put it over $60. If it breaks under that support, which would be at 35, I don't think it's going to head down there, but you never know. I think there's an opportunity for more strikes. I was going to wait for 50, but if it gets over 46 today, I might look for some more strikes to play for upside before the premiums really start to get insane. That's Lemonade. Solar Edge teased yesterday. Looked like it was going to break out. Reverse. I think it was a dollar reversal off the open all the way up to 15.30, and then just melted lower for the rest of the day. I hate to wait for it for the new year, but this could be one of those names that really get some traction after all the tax losses selling is done, and it's kind of like an oversold condition, similar to Teldoc. And I don't have Teledoc on the watches here, but that's another name. It really hasn't been able to get going after its little mini squeeze, and that could be another name that starts to run in 2025. Trip and you did nothing yesterday. Trip closed flat as a pancake, and Clear Secure still a tight Bollinger Band setup. It's just one of the days it's going to take off and not look back. I'll wait for $28 to break on that one. And then just some other names. I've been talking about Deck for a while, well, at least not a while, last couple sessions since Nike earnings. At some point, that's going to be a nice trade for short-term downside. Still watching that one. That one closed slightly in the green yesterday. Same with Intuit. Intuit's towing its 50-day moving average, which is 645 now. So just watching that. If it can't break that 645 over the next couple of days, I think that'll make a nice put play. And then I had Poole on the watch list a couple weeks ago, just as kind of a play on Buffett, right? Because he announced his stake back back in November. Well, he didn't announce his stake; just came out with the filings, and the stock went, well, I wouldn't say went bonkers, but all the way up to 390. And this is after it fell all the way down into the 290s in July. I just think there's an opportunity to 2025 with Poole. So it's not going to be one of my top 5 stocks, but it'll definitely be a name I continue to watch for possible opportunities, because you have to think. I think if history is an indicator, I mean, it wasn't good with Ulta, but it was a small stake that they announced in Poole. If they're bullish on the name, you have to think they're adding some more. So, and I'm not going to just buy a name just because Buffett's in it, but certainly helps add some support, right? So that's kind of that. I mentioned it yesterday on the rant. I put it on the watch list this morning, hitting the reset button on the 2K challenge. So that'll be rolling out hopefully January 6th. And then my top 5 stocks for 2025. I have a couple of names, just want to fine tune some things. I'm hoping to have it out by the weekend. If not, it'll be out on Wednesday, January 1st. And that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. We got 20 minutes to the open. I'll be back. Rock and roll.